Hi, welcome back to the Astro Imaging channel. Tonight's session, we're going to go over an in-depth kind of overview of what was going on at NEAF. Both Alex and I met up there and got to record some videos, got to speak to some vendors. And I know I did my overview, but this is really going to get into the nitty-gritty of what was going on. And if you have any specific questions, I'll say it now. I'm going to try and say it again. If you have any specific questions, ask them in our chat, which is on our website. theastroimagingchannel.com. Click the bottom right, and you can get right in, chat, do whatever, and we'll see your questions and kind of call them out as we go. But first thing I want to do is I want to show up our image of the week, which you're going to see my whole screen for 1 second, and then there you go. Galactic Landscape by Corey Phillips. Just a cool photo of the Milky Way galaxy rising, and I don't know if that's Corey or someone else standing there with the flashlight, but pretty cool nightscape photo. Check it out on our website. You can comment on it, or you can submit your own. Okay, gotta find my windows again. Jumping back. So like I said, Alex and I met up, and he has all of the data on his computer, all of the pictures on his computer. So I'm going to basically hand this over to him, and he's going to go over it. And I think you're going to see me on there. You might see him too as well. But
can you hear me?
Yes, Alex. Go right ahead.
I'm still seeing you on the time delay over there. First thing I'm going to do, though, is not what Adam said. First thing, we're going to go up to RTMC because the RTMC schedule is up, and here's a copy of it. It's at RTMC Astronomy Expo, and then a whole lot of words. So Google RTMC Astronomy Expo and go in there. Last week when we were doing our thing, we got asked, is there going to be anything on solar eclipse photography? For anybody who wants to see some solar eclipse photography, Dr. Fred Espenek, who's somewhat famous in the world of eclipses, is going to be having a presentation on how to photograph the 2017 total solar eclipse. So if you're around Southern California, or you might want to get up to Big Bear and see that happening. Espenek's also going to be talking the next day several times, and I think he's going to be giving another workshop on Saturday about that. And as you can see, there's 3 venues at RTMC. One of them, the main hall, has a lot of important regular hour-long presentations and door prizes and all that other stuff. Another is Beginner's Corner for anybody who's really into, it's mostly visual stuff over there, but it's beginning astronomy. And then the third area is the annex. And a special thing that will be happening in the annex at 10 o'clock on Sunday morning was our own Josh Smith here from the Astro Imaging channel. And I've asked Josh if he wouldn't mind saying a few things about what he's going to be talking about when he gets to RTMC. So Josh, you want to take over here for a minute or 3?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having me, Alex, and thank you for the invitation to talk there. So the talk is going to be fairly lengthy, and I'm kind of breaking it up into a handful of smaller talks. And I want to go over a couple of different things, but the beginning of the talk is going to be a little bit more about target selection and organization, something we've done quite a few really large collaborations with a handful of folks, both here and outside of the Astro Imaging channel. And we learned some really valuable lessons on becoming organized on both collecting data and when to collect the best data and all of that stuff. So I'm going to share some files for that and also talk about some best strategies to doing that. So it's kind of entry-level stuff, but it's also something I think that we all are always striving to get a little bit better at. So that'll kind of cover the beginning as well as the target selection stuff. And then going on from that, I'm going to go through a couple of different processing techniques that I like to use that are going to be a little more in-depth, including, I guess, my version of tone mapping, also something on animations. And we're going to do a kind of a cool little reveal on a large project that we've been doing together here with an animation as well. So it's going to be a lot of really in-depth kind of processing stuff, and we'll probably cover a lot of that more in the second half of the talk. So I think that covers pretty much everything. And Alex, I was going to let you know, put this down on paper as well, so we can have kind of a little bit of a description of what the timeline of the speech is going to look like.
Cool. And so anybody wants to get in on that, first off, you got to be up at RTMC on Sunday, which is cool. And there is a fee, an extra fee for seeing Josh, because we got to fly him all the way out from, where are you from, Pennsylvania or Florida now?
Southwest Florida.
Southwest Florida now. Okay, so we're flying him all the way out there. Sounds like I know what I'm talking about. It's Pennsylvania or Florida or something, more than that side of the country. Anyway, now where we're going is NEAF. And NEAF is held in a big, I don't know what's this called, big field house. I think it's not really a gymnasium. There you can play 3 or 4 basketball games in here at the same time. And while it looks really empty here, that's because I'm about the 4th or 5th, 8th person, whatever, through the door. And as you can see, they're just the vendors here so far. And we'll see more pictures of that. We're going to be talking about NEAF. If you have any questions about NEAF, about what we saw at NEAF or anything else like that, be sure to go on over to testing, theastroimagingchannel.com, and you can ask your questions over there. Just jump in on the little chat section over there. Reminder, we don't monitor the YouTube anymore for questions and things like that, because it's our own theastroimagingchannel.com website does a better job for that kind of stuff. So that's the overview of what the big hall looks like before the people actually get there. Before NEAF, which happens on Saturday and Sunday in early April usually, there is an imaging conference that goes on for a couple of days. And that imaging conference is called NEAIC, Northeast Astro Imaging Conference. This year it was April 6th and 7th. It'll be about the same time next year. And Bob Moore and his crew of volunteers do a really good job working on this. It's a little pricey, but that little pricey includes your food for breakfast and lunch, I think, and includes lots of workshops and stuff like that. You can also get in on nighttime workshops, which are also very nice and stuff like that. So you get 2 days of good, solid astro imaging, and we'll talk a little bit about that. Here's a blown up picture of that information I was just showing you. This goes on for 2 days. Like I said, day 1, there's 3 different rooms on both sessions, and you go through breakfast, and there's a lot of talks. Okay, this is the big hall over here, so this holds everybody. And we heard about Project Dragonfly. Robert Reeves got some really good stuff on high resolution imaging of the moon. And Ruben Kier and this whole green strip over here is basic astro imaging stuff over here. They had a lot of beginner stuff, a lot of overview of everything like that. You know Gaston, he's been here on the Astro Imaging channel, and the talks going on, big old dinner break, and then there's more talks in the evening. You come back the next day, and it's a similar thing. Brian Cogdell, Tolga was there. Ken Pendlebury, he actually didn't do this presentation. Another fellow got up there and did a great job telling us about main sequence software. Although Ken and Jared, the developers of main sequence software, was there. Main sequence office is Sequence Generator Pro. And so these are all nominal hour-long presentations going on during the day. And these break sessions, well, during the break sessions, you kind of go next door and you see some, well, I'll show you what that's out of order. My next order, this is what the typical session would look like. This is Dan Llewellyn telling us about whether we can live without PixInsight.
Okay, my name is Dan Llewellyn, and I play the villain. What? Oh, no, I got it right here. I play the villain. I am always the villain. I come here to NEAIC and I give talks that are fun.
There were lots of these going on. Here's Richard Wright.
Everybody needs software. So I did software for healthcare, and I did software for the simulation, and I even did software for gamers for a while. And it's like, hey, I love astronomy, and
so you can see there's not such a big crowd that you can't actually sit there and get to know these people, ask them questions and things like that. One of the features. That's Tolga sitting there. Hi, Tolga. One of the reasons you go to these kind of astroimaging workshops is to get to know a bunch of people, and you get to sit with a whole bunch of people as they discuss things. But it's also nice to have good food there, and there is good food.
I expect
And let's see. But as you know, I think I've mentioned it several times, I'm not all that equipment geeky, but I think you all deserve to see this. That's Bob Moore right here. He's the guy that runs it all. That's NEAIC, and I think that's all I wanted to show you about NEAIC. If you guys got any questions about it, be sure to type them in over there at the astroimagingchannel.com, testing the astroimagingchannel.com. It's a cool thing. You really ought to do it, particularly if you're flying in from California, going all the way to NEAF. You might as well spend 4 days there instead of just 2 days there at NEAF. Okay, let's get over to NEAF. Back to the overall entrance. We're going to walk in here, but I thought you might like to see it a few hours later. That picture, as I said, is taken early in the morning. There's a lot of stuff that does happen at NEAF. This was Saturday and Sunday. As you can see, lots of good names. I think you can read that. Yeah, there we go. So you can see there's a presentation going about every hour over in the main hall. There, in addition, there's other activities going on. This is
Hi, everybody. This is Alex. I'm just reporting from up above NEAF on the walkway as one would enter NEAF. This is generally what you would see. A bunch of vendors, a bunch of people walking around trying to spend some money, find out what's new. Some people just taking pictures of the whole thing. There you go.
another place you'd want to visit. Oh, this is I got a picture of the line. This is the line at, well, was it 8:30 or 9 o'clock in the morning? I forget. It really isn't all that thick a line, and it isn't all that hard to get through. But we're just waiting to get permission to walk in. I was about the 8th or 10th person in line that morning. It wasn't a grand crowd. It wasn't a crush or anything else like that. So you've seen the main hall. This is this right here.
So in order to go about this, I first obtain a sample of stars from the friends of like to change the by measuring them all. But this sample of stars will take 100.
That fella is one of the young astronomers that is working with the Astronomical League. He was awarded in the Astronomical League, and he's in the OPT theater. And you can see the OPT symbolism there and stuff like that. They've sponsored a theater that's actually on the floor of the big hall there. It's way down at that far end down there. That's the OPT theater, and these are the bleachers you saw in that. And that kid was talking right here. He was one of 3 or 4 kids recognized by the Astronomical League as exemplary young astronomers. Other shows went on down in here. How to pick your first telescope, how to pick your first CCD. That kind of stuff was going on down in the OPT theater down there. Over in another part of the building is a big, outside the building is the Solar Star Park.
Okay, Adam and I have moved outside. We wanted to get some pictures of the outdoor solar party, which they have every year at NEAF. And this year we're blessed with some very, very nice sunshiny skies. And so we came out to take some pictures while the sun was out. We've had, pretty much a week of clouds here. in the area. So it's been pretty darn miserable. And now at last, it looks like the sun's out just for the solar star
It's
party
Adam.
today. There's Adam walking around. We're going to talk to Steve Ramsden in a little bit.
Steve Ramsden's
And we'll
Charlie
leave it there.
Bates solar
It
imaging.
used to be that this star party stretched out across that new construction out there, but it looks like they've cut the field down a little bit for the construction. Everybody's busy. Everybody's waiting in line, looking to the telescopes, getting ready for the solar eclipse this August. So I'll cut it off here.
And there's one other venue you should see if you want to know about NEAF.
So, it is interesting. Section.
This is the big hall, and about probably 450 people can sit in here. This is where they have a lot of their, well, this is where the big speakers be. Okay. Once you've paid to get into NEAF, all the rest of this stuff is free.
But anyway, while I was working there, I had the opportunity of working with Jack Herkheimer, who was the creator.
And as you can see, they've got good production values at this operation.
We're going to talk a little bit about this
Okay.
as we go.
All right, but what you really came for, let's see, are there any questions? No, I don't see any questions over there. Adam, are we doing okay?
We're doing okay.
Okay. We better be doing okay, because I tell you guys, walking around with Adam at this thing, I was just, he's got groupies. He's got groupies. All these guys come up to him and say, "Aren't you Adam?" And he goes, "Why, yes, I am, as a matter of fact." And they ask him questions and stuff, and they look at me and says, "You look familiar too. Do you carry stuff for Adam?" Anyway, Adam talked to several people, and he got some, we recorded on the iPhone some things that he had to say. The first we're going to is Optec. Here comes Optec.
Hey guys, I'm Adam at NEAF, and here I am with Jeff Dickerman from Optec Focuser, and he's got a cool new product, actually a few cool products, but one in particular that we've heard about, a automated focuser. And Jeff, could you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, we're calling this the TCF Leo, and it is it's a 1.25 inch wide, thin focuser. Rather than belt driven, it's all gear driven. So we got 3 lead screws in here. We level the whole thing inside. It's all buttoned up tightly. We're using a high capacity motor. We're getting like 80 nanometer steps out of this guy. I mean, just incredibly high resolution, but it's more for the gear reduction. We need it for the gear reduction. And it runs on our Focus Links controller that we've been selling for years. This is a Gemini version of it, but we also have the Focus Links controller that runs up to 2 focusers.
Very cool.
So,
What's the capacity on it?
Well, we were pushing vertically. We were pushing about 35 pounds on the test bench Monday.
35,
but
more
we
than enough.
haven't done full testing on it. So this is, like I say, this is our prototype. So we'll see what happens when we get the final version all ready.
Yep. And of course, you guys are famous for the Gemini.
The Gemini is doing really well for us. We've got one on the back of the AG optical scope here, if you want to see this.
Yeah.
So this is our typical configuration. Dave sells quite a few of these for us. We've got a little spacer in there. And I think he's got roughly about 12 inches of back focus on this particular model. So there's plenty of room there, but this has been a great seller for us.
Yeah. And it can basically rotator focuser. Yep. Enough capacity for anything you could put on there.
Right.
If you don't want to worry about your gear.
Tell us about these connections back here.
Okay. The connect, we have a focus and a rotator connection. And those will go into the 2 ports on our Gemini specific controller. It's the same controller as the Focus Link. We just put different firmware on there. We can run 2 steppers with it. So we do that, and then there's a little 6-pin DIN in there, and that's for the temperature probe, which I don't have connected. But ideally, you'll put the temperature probe on some part of the telescope that's got a nice linear response to temperature. And there's always a place, you just need to find it. In this case, on the AG, it's going to be these aluminum pieces that are going to be contracting as it cools down, and this one actually has a very low temperature coefficient anyway. But for like your celestial and your needs, it still has some temperature change with
for the more pedestrian telescopes.
Well, yeah. I mean, but that's a big part of the market.
Oh yeah.
The thing with the Leo, the shape. I'll take one more look at it. The shape is designed so that we can slip it between the lock knobs on the Celestron.
Oh.
When Celestron first came out with the Edge HDs, they had 147 millimeters of back focus, and our TCF focusers are kind of long. They're about 100 millimeters. You can't chew up 100 millimeters. So our first solution was the fast focus. Now this will move the secondary mirror, and it's been around for quite a while. Got a hot product back in 2012 or so. So we sell quite a few of those, but a lot of people still want to have focus at the back, and they don't want to move the secondary.
Particularly with the edge.
Yeah.
Particularly with the edge, put it on the back. And you also, I see focus lock there.
Yes.
So you can be focusing while you're taking
guiding.
exposure.
Yeah.
While you're guiding in.
The focus lock system was developed in concert with Gaston Baudet.
Yep.
And if you're guiding, you're in focus. It's really a slick system.
Yeah, and we've talked about that online. Great presentation to go check out because the science behind it's pretty cool.
It is. And he's got, have you talked to him yet today?
I haven't talked to him today.
Yeah, he's got some really cool stuff with whole image guiding. You don't even need a star.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's doing fast forward transform on the scene.
We were just talking about that a couple of weeks ago with someone else.
We can see what the translation is on that scene, and that's going to be a cool addition for focus lock. Hopefully we'll be able to get that incorporated in,
very
by AIC.
Very interesting. All right, well, thank you. Thank you for showing us off, and we'll see you around sometime.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, that was the first of our little interviews that we had. Anybody have any questions, be sure to get them in there. I see Mary Lou is asking about mentioning the Pro-Am collaboration sessions at NEAF. And I'm sorry, I'm not sure I'm qualified to talk to that. I don't remember that part of it. Mary Lou, if you could type in some more, or Adam, or somebody else knows about that.
I know they were talking on it. I didn't notice it this year. I know previous years there were talks on a Pro-Am collaboration. Mary Lou, if you type into comments just a few little details about it, we'll let people know, and then we'll even expect to see it next year because it sounds kind of cool.
Is Tolga in the room? I can't go.
Tolga's not today.
Okay, I think Tolga might know. Anyway, Mary Lou, tell us more about that. Okay. Any other questions? Nope, I don't see any other questions. Okay. KL PlaneWave.
We're on.
All right, we're here at PlaneWave Instruments with Kevin Iott, and they have a brand new mount. Alex, show off the mount because this is a pretty nice piece of gear. And Kevin's going to tell us a little bit about it. Kevin, give me the details.
Yeah, so this is our new mount. It's completely built by PlaneWave Instruments, and it's direct drive. We're offering this in both ALTAS or equatorial mode. High resolution on-axis optical encoders. We've got two sizes of this. The size you're seeing here will hold our 17 or our 20-inch telescope, or really any optical tube up to about 220 pounds. And then the next size up from this, it's the same form factor that'll hold our 24-inch telescope, or up to about 300 pounds of payload. Has all of the same features as like our CDK 700 and our 1 meter telescopes. The mount modeling, the high precision pointing, sub-arc second tracking accuracy. That's all the great things that you get with direct drive motors. No periodic error, no backlash.
Basically instantaneous response to any.
Exactly. Yep.
And we're seeing it configured in ALTAS mode, but do you buy it separately in equatorial mount?
Yeah, so the mount physically is exactly the same. It's set up for that reason. So all you would do is for equatorial mode is we have a wedge that you would bolt between the mount and the pier to go in equatorial mode.
And then I see you can mount telescopes on both sides of it.
That's correct.
So if you had a dual setup,
yep,
you have a great mount.
Yep,
might as well throw another telescope on there if it's clear.
Now, a very unique feature to this type of mount is balancing. You might think that well, if I put a different size telescope, you're really going to have a bunch of weight on one side to counterbalance. It's not the case. So what we've done is in the base of the fork arm, the interface between the arm and the base here, there's a dovetail system. And internally in the mount, you just loosen a couple screws, and there's a lead screw that you can put a hex drive on, and you can actually run that entire mount left and right in order to balance your system.
So the dovetail is completely enclosed within here?
No, it's right here on the bottom.
Oh, okay.
Yep, and it's self-contained so that when you loosen things up to balance, nothing's going to get out of hand.
And appears, just by looking at it, there's nothing really for cables to get snagged on. I mean, it's a nice, clean.
Yep, and we have user accessible panels throughout the mount. This panel, especially here on the side, that's where we're planning on the customer routing their cables through the mount to then hook into the telescope. The great thing is it's a nice short run, and as you said, there's nothing for the cables to get snagged on. So it's a nice, very clean, elegant setup.
Very cool. And of course, you've got all different sizes of your CDKs to offer for them. So if someone really wants a professional system, you've got the whole package now.
That's right. And we are doing a package pricing for when one of our telescopes and the mount is bought together.
What does this is the smaller mount. What does the smaller mount run?
Yep. So the smaller mount is 18,000 in an LTAS configuration. We're still working on the exact pricing for the wedge system, but it'll be about $1,000.
Okay. And you said 20-inch capacity on this one?
Essentially 20-inch capacity or 220 pounds.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, thank you. Thanks for showing it off. And,
It seems a little hyperactive. Does it actually just track the stars, or just do this all
yeah, well, does it come with demo mode?
yeah, it actually does come with demo mode, so you can do exactly this. So
you show it off to your friends that don't know astronomy.
Exactly. Yeah, and this, it should be noted right now, this is going at 30 degrees per second with 15 degrees acceleration. We actually have a mode with up to 60 degrees per second slewing and 60 degrees per second squared acceleration.
I'll try and do this, but I don't think I can barely hear anything. I mean, not in this room.
Right.
But you're the soundtrack. There's a lot of people talking in the background.
You're not going to hear anything here. So you're not going to annoy your neighbors. Although hopefully you have this set up at nice dark skies where you have no neighbors.
Right.
But yeah, very cool.
That's where they're best at home, for sure.
Thank you, Kevin.
Yeah,
Again,
you're welcome.
PlaneWave's new mount, so check it out. Is it on your website yet?
It is not on our website yet. So NEAF really is the first outing for it. So
great. Thanks again.
Yeah, you're welcome. Take care.
There we go, guys. That's our first of them. If you've got any questions, who was it? Dylan was asking what's the name of the thing, and we don't really know. I guess we aren't very good reporters yet. But okay, ready for the next one? No, we just did.
We're on.
All right, we're here at.
Let's go over to here comes Mike Fowler from Orange County Telescopes.
Here at NEAF with Mike Fowler. Looking at the Revolution Imager.
Yay.
And this is basically for live viewing of DSOs, whether you're doing an outreach or anything. But Mike, let me not tell them about it. You tell them a little bit.
No, please, you tell them all about it.
I'll tell them all about it.
So thank you for coming by, and I appreciate your channel and reaching out to the amateur astronomy community. So Revolution Imager is a growing market segment of amateur astronomy that I see as strong growth in, especially for the younger kids. You know, that as the world has gone from film cameras to digital SLRs to, you know, kids today, I feel old when I say that, are like all about the GoPro, and you know, and this is kind of that electronic assisted astronomy, that visual astronomy, astrophotography, and this new growing segment, electronic assisted astronomy. The Revolution Imager is a complete kit. It comes in a semi-hard case, which comes with the camera, the 7-inch color monitor, rechargeable battery, wired remote, everything you need to start in electronic assisted astronomy. You open up the kit, put the battery on the charger, look at a couple of instructions on the manual, and within a few minutes you can see galaxies and nebula through any tracking telescope. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to bring the price down and get kids interested in astronomy with maybe the Costco telescope, maybe the Best Buy telescope, you know, and be able to really see galaxies and nebula, or at least get a taste of it. And what you do with the remote is you learn how to go to the manual mode, and I'll back up here a little bit, and in manual mode, press enter, and now what I can do is I can adjust the shutter speed so that what was barely visible in a deep sky object is now, you know, the galaxies and arms and color of a nebula really starts to come out. And again, it's a complete kit that lets you start in electronic assisted astronomy. We're very proud of it, and we got picked as a Sky and Telescope Hot Product of 2017 and a star product in Astronomy magazine. So there's definitely a growth in this market.
Well, I know when I'm explaining to people what I do with astrophotography, I talk about it for about 3 minutes, and then they're turned off. Astrophotography gets really complex.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, probably a large majority of the people that think technology and astronomy are really envisioning a system like this.
Yeah.
So it's simpler. You have to hook up a few wires, but then whether you're in light polluted skies or at dark skies, but wherever you may be, you see stuff on your computer screen.
You know, the analogy that I use is like, imagine having a 12-foot high ladder, right? You know, you're going to climb to the roof. Imagine the first rung on that ladder being 5 feet off the ground, right? Now, if you're dedicated, you can pull on there and maybe you're going to bump your shins and scrape your feet and all that kind of stuff. And you're going to get up there and learn what a flat field, dark frame, all that kind of stuff is. What Revolution Imager does is it puts a step on the ladder at the 2-foot height, which most people can get up on.
Yep. And definitely, makes it easy to enter. And I can see a lot of high schools buying this or grade schools buying this, and really being able to show out the sky without the
outreach units at your local club.
Outreach units at your local club, which is the best way to see it, because you're really going to get a lot of smart people that know what they're talking about.
And we have a really unique adapter, a Wi-Fi adapter that's $89, which goes in between here. Now, when a kid's like, oh wow, that's awesome, you can go, hey, download Wi-Fi AV on their device. They pull out their phone, download it, save the image on their device. They now have the image. They post it to Snapchat, Facebook. Yes. They get the social media feedback where it's like, oh my gosh, now astronomy's cool, because they're getting that social justification that the next generation wants.
Or they do it the old-fashioned way and show it to their friend on their well, I shouldn't even say on their phone, but that's the real important thing about sharing astronomy and getting people excited in it. And the technology's here.
Get them where they're at.
Get them where they're at. Yes. Yeah. And we were going to show off. They have some pictures here, but really the best thing you could do is check out the revolutionimager.com, or even if you're on cloudy nights, check that out. Yeah. And you'll see them on your computer screen, so you'll actually see the quality of the images that they
see
get.
What you've been missing.
See what you've been missing.
There you go.
I have a question. I've heard you talk to a couple of your customers coming by here about the possibility of actually saving the video stream.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell us about that, because can we actually process it as like if we were a planetary imager, or
absolutely,
might it be useful for saving something from, like, if something happens in August of next year that might be of interest?
Oh, I heard there's a lunar eclipse.
There is.
No, I'm just kidding. I was kidding. So the Revolution Imager comes with a USB capture card. It's the new UVC, universal one. So if you're Windows 10, you just plug it in and it works. And that allows you to download the images directly to your laptop, or like I was talking to you, the Wi-Fi adapter, you can save it directly to your Android or iPhone that way. And we also have a little LCD DVR. The LCD DVR, if you give me a foot here you go. This new LCD DVR, we have even a hands-free operation. So this piece is $89, uses a little micro SD card. You plug it directly into the imager. And then we have this hands-free device, which is $19. This actually uses the Q20 on the back of the imager, so you can get rid of the bigger screen if you want. Now just the imager with this attached and the battery, you can walk around any star party, plunk this into any telescope, see a color image, save it, save a video, whatever you want to do. Relatively simple.
And what is the camera and the video monitor? What would that cost?
Yeah, we better go through this piece by piece, because you've just explained about 18 different things.
Oh, I was going for 19. Yeah. So the Revolution Imager is a complete package that comes with the camera, the 1.25" snoot. It has a 0.5 reducer. It has the wired remote. It's supposed to be 1.25". Hey, it is 1.25". It fits. Has the wired remote, the color monitor, and the 4,800 milliamp battery. We're using a larger battery here today because we're having it on all day long. But it comes, if you look over here, it comes in a complete semi hard case, so that you can, everything has a place, and you can just take all of this and go and see color images. And then we have
and what's that cost me?
$299.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you that our club does about 60 outreaches a year. And what we often do, we usually like to go when there's a first quarter moon. Obviously, we're in a light polluted, we're at a mall someplace or something like that. So what we'll do is we'll go to the moon, focus on it, make sure everything's all focused and ready to go. And then we'll go to a deep space object, and you can see the Orion Nebula
in color.
even getting color immediately on that particular screen.
Yeah. Yep. And as you mentioned, it doesn't matter whether you have a really nice telescope or a Costco telescope. This is with the inch and a quarter.
Right.
It'll work.
Yeah.
Well,
exactly.
yeah, and we're using a C8 for what I just described.
And what the consensus is, and I have to, you know, it doesn't. There's Dawes limit of resolution. It doesn't give you the resolving capability, but the brightness capability. It effectively triples your telescope. So a 5-inch telescope becomes a 15-inch telescope. An 8-inch telescope becomes a 24-inch telescope in brightness capability, which is pretty astounding. What really turned me on it, the first one of these that I made, I was in my backyard in Southern California, a little bit of a crescent moon, and I could see the Eagle Nebula from my backyard. Yeah. So at that point, I was like, wow, somebody should make this.
Yeah, and you did.
Right. The end.
Right. Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, very nice to meet you.
Yes, and like I said, check them out, revolutionimager.com, or just see what people are doing with it on cloudy nights.
Questions, info@revolutionimager.com. You know, as an amateur astronomer that has the best job in the world, happy to help. Truly happy to help.
Yeah. Great. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Okay. We've got Mary Lou has given us some more information. Mary Lou, I'm going to tell you, I don't remember that being a big part of NEAF this year. I don't go back to NEAF very often. Every couple of years I try to get back there. It's a long flight from here or whatever. So it's kind of hard for me to get there. For those of you following along, you're all looking at the link 2017 _ NPAC.PDF. And it looks like they're soliciting astronomers. The professional astronomers are soliciting help from amateur astronomers to help them find exoplanets, asteroids, microlensing, radio ham science during the eclipse, spectroscopy, and so forth. And somebody's just scrolled me. Somebody added a question and scrolled Mary Lou off the screen. Let me get back there. Okay. So that's the answer to Mary Lou's question. Josh has a question. Kevin Malone on Facebook. Where'd that come from? Well, I don't know. Kevin Malone on Facebook was going to ask, what is the current best live stacker? I think we'll talk about that later, maybe. And George was talking about that. So we'll talk about that later. Let's get back to our interviews. Are you ready for another interview?
Yep, go ahead.
This one's a biggie. And this is what Warren sounds like in real life for those of you who have listened to his tutorials. Of course, he was just here a couple of weeks ago. So
we're here with Warren Keller, who actually, you guys know Warren Keller. He's been on the show before, but he actually has a great new book out, Inside PixInsight. And if you don't already know everything there is to know about PixInsight, which none of us do, this is the book you want. And Warren, tell us a little bit about it.
Well, it is a book, and I did write it. Okay. Interview over. Now, seriously, I'm so glad that I jumped on this when I did. You know, many people know I was a Photoshop-based image processor and kind of known as a guru. Like anybody could ever be a guru in Photoshop, but you know, I taught it for many years and did you know, documentation and tutorials and all of that stuff. And it was actually a NEAIC. It was a NEAIC several years ago where I saw guys foaming at the mouth, rushing into the presentations of a friend of mine, Joe DiPasquale, who was the Chandra science imager, is just moving over to James Webb, and also Vicent Kip Paris from the PixInsight team was here that year, and guys were just foaming at the mouth, and I thought, dude, you need to jump on this now. And by nature, I'm always terrified of getting into things that are new, that I'm somehow not going to get it. And ultimately, in honesty, I usually wind up getting it pretty quickly and am able to, you know, digest it and also communicate it to people that are as technical or even less technical than myself. And of course, I'm more of a artist, musician person than a technologist, not an engineer type. But I get it. I get things, that the essentials pretty quickly. Anyway, it was that very NEAIC where I said, I got to get on the shtick here with this. And so we started the 3-part series video tutorials with Rogelio Bernal Andrea. Of course, I wrote them, I produced them, but Rogelio was great to have there as a, you know, a person who was very experienced to just give me that extra 10% tweaks. And it was successful. We had a great run with it for 4 years. And then I just felt like, you know, somebody needs to write a manual. Somebody needs to write a book. Now, in all fairness, Juan Canillero, the creator of PixInsight, great guy, brilliant guy. And when he writes a tutorial or writes documentation, nobody does a better job than Juan does. I mean, he's so fluent in English. It's almost like it's his first language, and he's so brilliant and such a good communicator, which doesn't always go hand in hand. But the fact is, he doesn't have the time to devote to all that documentation. And I just felt like, you know, I didn't want to write a tome. I can't speak under the hood what the actual algorithms are behind the processes. But at the end of the day, I'm an advanced, what you would say, an elite imager from a visual standpoint, and I know how to get the best out of the program. And I took to it very quickly. In fact, other than some sweetening in Photoshop because of its ease of masks and such, I do 95% of my processing in PixInsight, and it became very comfortable. So again, it's very very gratifying to it was, you know, a long haul, 18 months probably of, you know, not only writing but all the screenshots and captioning, and then dealing with the publisher and then the contractor that did the layout of the book. And it was just, you know, so many, you know, 750 corrections. And I mean, it was just a long process. And but again, I'm essentially the only game in town, and it's very gratifying to have, you know, to have had the gallones, if you know, to get on it when I did and to just push forward. Now again, I can't go into the level of detail that Juan can, and even some of the community that are so very bright. But I think, again, at the end of the day, if you want to, in a very chronological way, and I always talk about context and chronology, the what to do and when to do it. And
well, I'm sorry to interrupt, but in our hobby, you know, there are going to be a lot of engineers out there who see the equation and understand what to do.
Right.
And then there are people who, like me, who want the step-by-step instruction. And I think between your videos and the book, that's what you're getting. If you're not a natural to the mathematics behind it.
But even those guys, Adam, even those guys, typically, they don't translate it to art, you know, because they don't have the eye, they don't have that sensibility. And so you also have to tell them, you know, okay, you know the algorithm, I don't, but hey, you know, mix it in an aesthetically pleasing way. Just don't have heavy hammered, ham-fisted.
Yes.
So we all need, and I mean, it's great. I mean, you go to Amazon, there's one dirty dog that really trashed it, but the reviews are wonderful. And you go on an Ice in Space or on a Stargazers Lounge UK, and it's just so exciting to see people talking about your work, you know, what you wrote.
Yeah, well, definitely a great book. I have it. I actually read it from my sofa frequently because I just want to figure out if there's stuff that I haven't quite caught hold of. But
and look, frankly, I refer to, you know, I refer to those notes all the time because, hey, you know, I'm not a spring chicken and I don't get to process every day. And sometimes for the heavier processes, I have to go to a resource, and I feel like I've culled all the best from everything that was available when I wrote it.
Yes. Well, thank you. Thank you for
being
with us, and thank you for your book. And I definitely suggest buying the book.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Alex.
Have you gotten a new look?
Yes. Yes, I did. I wanted to look like Alex.
So you haven't been photoshopped yet?
No, and I'm not ill. I'm healthy.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Okay, I see there's been a couple of questions there from the Peanut Gallery, all saying, "Hey, you know what? That book by Warren's probably a pretty good book." People look like they're glad they bought it. You know, Warren's very much involved with the Advanced Imaging Conference taking place at the end of September up in San Jose, and if any of you out there want to go to that, it's time to start registering, getting on board. It's a pretty pricey operation, but what I talked about with NEAIC earlier, how you get a chance to visit with people, how you get a chance to bump heads with people that are having the same problems you're having and experiencing the same things you're having. It really is pretty cool. Okay, Adam, we ready to go on to Vic? Adam went to sleep.
Go ahead. Sorry, I lost my window.
Sometimes during the Astro Imaging channel, I check out other things. It's really hard to make sure that I don't do that now because the feed's coming off my computer screen. So if I check my email while you guys are watching this, you'd all see who's sending me email.
We're here at StellarVue with Vic Maris, who we've heard some interesting news about what he's doing these days. So without me speaking too much, what I'm going to do is going to pass it right over to him and let him talk about what he's doing.
It's new and exciting.
Yeah, new and exciting this year is our flagship 152 is back. These are made with lenses using O'Hara, FPL 53 center element and a lanthanum third element, airspace made entirely in-house. What's really been fun the last several years is buying more and more machines. It's like the ultimate tool time fantasy for a guy that's retired. And we now have the capability of doing all of our optics in-house. The large ones we do in-house. Telescope is you can put an APS size camera on it, and you don't even need a field flattener. I mean, it's 152 millimeter f8, but we do have large full frame reducer flatteners that will allow you to operate it at around f, let's see, 0.72 times 8, whatever that is. So these are waitlisted right now, but within a year we'll have the waitlist caught up, and they'll be available off the shelf.
Great. And you've also got your imaging, what are we looking at, astrographs over there, right?
Our astrographs are
over here.
Yeah, the astrographs over here include our Q, a 100Q. And we have the SVS 130. This year we're designing a new, larger astrograph, and we're working on a smaller astrograph because we have the in-house capability now of producing high strial lenses. We want to do that. I mean, we want to really make 3 astrographs that are state-of-the-art at a reasonable price, made in the United States. So.
Great. Very interesting, and thanks for speaking with us.
Yep. Always a pleasure.
I'm sure we'll see you around, and we'll see your gear on our mounts.
All right.
Thank you.
Take care. You bet.
I've talked to Vic a few times. He's come up to Sequoia, where we do a national park outreach, and we were at the big nighttime outreach, and there were 12-inch, 14-inch, 10-inch Dobbs all over the place, and other refractors and stuff like that. And he had a 5-inch scope there that it was just so gorgeous. It beat the much bigger scopes at the definition, the clarity. Vic's been doing some really good jobs with his scope, so check into it. And we're going over to Starlight Express, Adam.
We're here with Michael Hattie at Starlight Express, and they have a new product, their new camera body, which houses the 16200 and the 16803 sensors. Mike, would you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, so this is new for us because normally all our other cameras have been round rather than square. But we have a blind shutter, as you can see here, operating. Using the blind shutter, we can actually get very good flat fields with very short exposures. The camera itself cools down to about -45, -50 below ambient. And we also have built into the back the USB hub, which is the same for all of our Trias cameras. This allows you to plug the guide camera, your filter wheel, and also maybe a focuser, all from the back of the camera. So you only have one USB cable and a power supply going to your camera, to your imaging setup.
And they're also showing off their other lineup of cameras, some Sony sensors, and then some larger sensor, 11,002, I think it is.
Yes, it is, yeah.
And of course the filter wheels, which come in a number of different configurations, number of different filter wheels. You use the square filters in the larger, the larger sensors.
16803, we need the square 50mm unmounted filters. So we now have a big filter wheel, which has a 7-position 50mm square, We also do a 9-position, 50mm unmounted round filters. Also does 13-position 1 1/4 if you really want to really max out. We also have built-in off-axis guider here as well, which one of our load stars can just screw onto, which works incredibly well. Being in front of the filters means you don't have to worry about guiding behind the filters, which means you can take very short exposures.
That's interesting, and not worry about using different filters then.
Yeah,
filters of different thicknesses.
Yeah.
And you're also showing off your active optics.
Yeah, so our active optics is we've been making this now for probably 10, 12 years now. This is we use the refractive index of the glass to shift the image around to make very fast corrections to your guiding. We also have mount corrections as well, so we can actually bump the mount. So if you have drift in one direction, you can actually make sure that your guide star doesn't end up going outside of the full deviation. This works really well on very long focal lengths, but actually even on shorter focal lengths, you can actually see the difference between having the AO working or not. We've done some experiments with even the FSQ 106, which is only a 550mm focal length, but you can actually tell the difference. So that makes your bloated stars into nice pinpoint stars.
Great, and of course your famous Lodestar guide camera.
Yeah, so we have both the Lodestar X2, which is the sort of been renowned for being the best guide camera on the market for many years now. We also have the Ultrastar. This can be used as a guide camera. It has twice the area of the Lodestar.
Let's get those chips in there where we can see them. Right.
Okay.
There we go.
There we go. So the Lodestar is about half the size of the Ultrastar. However, the Lodestar, in my opinion, is still the better guide camera. The Ultrastar is a great camera for outreach because we have some special software called Starlight Live, which is incredibly good. It takes short exposures, say 20, 30 seconds, downloads them onto the computer, and as the next one comes down, it automatically stacks the images. So the image builds up in front of you, which is great if you're teaching a bunch of kids. And the other advantage is that because they're only powered from the USB and driven through the USB, you haven't got to take extra power packs for controlling them as well.
Very cool. Thanks for showing off your products.
Okay, welcome.
Thank you.
I think that's all of them that we've got. We had some technical difficulties on some of them, and I recorded when I was at NEAIC. I recorded a few, but I want to see if I can get the representatives here, the vendors here on the Astro Imaging channel before I show their video. So that was a lot of fun. Adam and I had wandering around. We saw Tolga there and a few others of you, and many of you came up and said hey to Adam, and that was cool to know that I was with the rock star. So I had a good time. Anyway, that's all the tape. That's all the videos we've got for you. I think we're through the questions, aren't we, Adam?
Yes, we seem to be. You know what I'm going to do? I do have on my screen right now the Pro-Am. Let's see. I don't think you can.
Yeah, that Mary Lou was asking about.
Yeah, Mary Lou was asking about. I think you can. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see it? I think you can. Northeast Pro-Am Conference, and basically I realized what this was. This is like, for example, Dennis Conti is presenting Stephen Ramsden on narrowband solar imaging. So I think this is more where the pros, and in some cases, for example, like Dennis, the pros are looking for you to either submit data or to give you an idea as to how you could do some science with your gear. To be honest, I knew of all these speeches, but I didn't know it was characterized separately from basically the other talks. And as I go down, you'll see some of the other talks that basically went on, whether it's in the main theater or in one of the classrooms. So did want to show that off, so at least you know that's there as well. Oh, let's see. I don't know what you see now.
Are you
trying to take my screen back and it's not working? There we go. There we go. Okay. So Alex, thank you for going through that. As you guys saw, we had fun and got to look at lots of cool stuff. Alex, RTMC next weekend?
Memorial Day weekend, which gives us
Memorial Day weekend.
weeks from now, right? Yeah, 2 weeks. So I get next week. We've got the work party. Anybody wants to help pour concrete or dig holes out at GMARS next week? We got that going, and then the week after that, we go up to RTMC.
Gotcha.
And so,
all right. Well, you heard it here first. So thanks for coming. We'll see you guys next week. I don't have a specific session planned. I'm hoping to have someone present, but if not, we might do an open session. We'll see. Those always go well, but if I do, I'll post it sometime earlier in the week so that we can start gathering questions. Thanks again for coming. See you guys again next week.